Okay, ladies and gentlemen, prepare to be inspired by a true titan in the fitness industry, Coach Venancio D'Souza. Now, with a remarkable career spanning like 4 decades, right? 40 years, Coach Venancio has been pioneering a force in the fitness and nutrition industry across the globe. Now, his journey began with studies in fitness and nutrition in the United States, the US, followed by significant roles managing the premium fitness clubs in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And then in 2007, he founded a company called Mint V's Fitness, which was establishing venues throughout Mumbai. That's in India. And now he's back in Dubai, right? And he now continues to innovate, inspire everybody through the Finished Work Academy, where he sort of coaches other coaches and offers international certifications in personal training, kickboxing, and many, many more. So Coach Venancio's philosophy is super simple, but also super profound, right? He believes that movement is medicine and movement is life, and that personalized coaching is sort of the need for every individual, because what happens is every person is unique, every person has different needs, they have different goals, they have different starting points, they have different hurdles, and what that really means that every person's journey is going to be very different and requires very, very tailored guidance, right? So his entire passion all over these years has been to develop progressive methods to constantly get people to keep moving and improving and just becoming better versions of themselves, right? Now, beyond his professional achievements, Coach Venancio is also known for his genuine love for people, right? I mean, that's what he would summarize, that I genuinely love people, and his dedication to sort of helping everybody and anyone sort of eager to improve, whether it's as a client or as a coach to do well in the industry, is something that's been driving him and really pioneering everything he does. Now, he excels in creating accessible tools for beginners and also really known for his ability to blend challenge with compassion, which is needed as a coach in his coaching. Right. So please welcome me in joining Coach Venancio D'Souza to the show. Thank you so much, sir, for coming in.
Ketan, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Actually, I know it's been a long overdue. I'm excited to be here, man. But yeah, I love it. This is something new. But yeah, before we start, actually, so Mint We's Fitness, it was a collaboration which was founded in 2000 and by the name of Naisha Bijlani, and and that's how our journey started back in India. So yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, thank you for having me.
I think both Coach V and I finally made it. We're in the same meeting room and we're here to talk about everything he's done and all the advice that he has for you guys. Perfect. So, Coach V, now you've had a remarkable journey in your fitness industry, right? Can you share what sort of initially drew you into fitness, and that to like 4 decades, right? That's huge. So, can you share what drew you there and what are the diverse experiences that you had?
Yeah, I mean, if I look back, I think my inspiration and the the passion to actually be in this industry stemmed out from from family. My father was a great sportsman. He played soccer, played hockey, and we always went as kids. Me and my siblings, we always went with him to watch the games. And as we grew up into school, we kind of got into the school teams to play football and hockey and so many other sports, but football and hockey mainly. Captain the football team, the hockey team, and then of course the first journey started while being playing with my father in his own team, and he was always an inspiration. So that was like number one. So from there on, I always went down to push more into sports, to delve into sports, into high school, and with martial arts and boxing and so on and so forth. So it has always been there, and I've always been in that sphere, into that zone all the time. Fast forward a little bit later, I started studying. I used to read a lot of these bodybuilding magazines back in that day, with a lot of the, I shouldn't say old timers, they're legends actually, with Bill Pearl, Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Oh, yeah.
so many of them, the greats, with Sergio Olivier. I mean, just be astounded by the physiques and, these guys and how would they do that. And then you went through that phase of the Charles Atlas sort of documentaries. Don't kick sand in my face. So yeah, it was all part of that. It was all part of the process. And from then on, yeah, from reading, actually, my a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, actually introduced me to the gym. Way back when I was probably about 14, and I loved it. I liked it. I mean, it was just amazing. Just the stuff that you would do. But I came from a very old school of training. Like the coaches that I had back then, They were very old school, but they were genuine. They're the kind of coaches you need in today's day and world. So I remember my first entry into the gym because I used to do a lot of martial arts, and I had a bit of an injury, and that's when I got dragged into the gym, basically by my friends. Said, "Let's go to the gym." And the first thing the coach told me was, he said, "Hey, I wanted to go into the weight training room and start working out of the weights," and he was like, "No way." He goes, "You're gonna do uh, unless you do 100 push-ups and 100 indie push-ups, it's like the Surya Namaskar. And when you can start hitting those pull-ups and you can do at least 50 pull-ups, 50 dips, that's the only time you're going to go into that gym and touch any weight."
Wow.
And I was like, what is this guy on about? And I was a bit of a rebel as well. I'm like, no way, man. But you know what? I stuck to it. I stuck to it like within a couple of months because I already had a base level of training of doing those things, of doing squats and push-ups and things like that, and doing pull-ups. So within like 6 weeks, like I was in, man. I was like, boom, I was in. And yeah, he was pretty impressed, but he didn't show it. God bless him. And yeah, that was my journey till date. But that's the foundation that most people getting into fitness need to think about. They need to get into it from that point of view. In today's day and age, if you see somebody, they walk into a gym and they just thrown on pieces of equipment and they're just told to do what it is. How are you going to work? The machine's already set. You have to remember that. Yeah, machine's already set. They have a set pathway.
Right.
And it's kind of in a way, yes, I'm not contradicting myself or anything, but in a way, yes, it's safer for clients because now you have all these sophisticated gyms and you have all this fantastic, pieces of equipment that look good. Some of them actually do the job. A lot of companies that you will look at, top companies, they make biomechanically correct machines. They've been doing that for a long time,
Right.
but now it's just easier to put somebody on a machine and say,
Just
this is
go
what
through
you're
the
going to be
motion.
doing. Yeah, go through the motions. But you know what? As humans, yeah, we're not meant to be like that because eventually you're going to have to bring them back to base level, to ground level, where they're going to start working with free weights and things like that. That's my opinion. Yeah. Somebody else might have a different opinion, and that's cool as well.
Hey, I
But
think
if
I
you
think
learn,
I think you
yeah,
said it
sorry,
absolutely right. See, what happens is, if I mean, in real life, we don't operating on machines. Right? You have to lift a heavy box and
correct.
put it up.
That's right.
You need to be able to know how to brace your core,
Yes.
bend over, keep your back straight, arch it, whatever, right? And be able to dip down, pick it up the right way. But if you're just doing it on a Smith machine or one of those hacks, one of those squatting machines where the
Yeah.
path is already decided, all you need to do is
Yes.
load a bit of weight and just follow it. You're never going to be able to do it without that, right?
Correct.
And because that's there, you're not actually utilizing or even paying attention to the other activities like having to hold your breath, taking a big gasp, bracing your core,
Yep.
tightening it up, making sure everything else is stable,
Yep.
to be able to do that particular movement
Correct.
efficiently, right?
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about your philosophy about movement, right? Now, we just released a podcast with my ex-partner, Mustafa Ahmed, who's a very good coach based in India. We used to run a gym together. And he used to say, move because you can, right? And that was his philosophy.
Right.
It sort of so resonates so much like with what you say, that movement is medicine, movement is life. Can
Yep.
you tell us a little bit more about that philosophy and how you incorporate that into your coaching and
Sure.
your
Sure. Yeah, sure. In today's day and age, most people are sitting, but they don't do much work. When I'm saying that, I mean that in a positive, negative way. People who are sitting, that's not really good for them. Where we grew up from, you and me, you had to do a lot of stuff. You went out, you played, you climbed trees, you did a lot of the stuff in those days, back in the 60s, 70s. That's what you had to do. You got out into the playground, you went and played. You played soccer, you played catch, you played whatever, but you played, you were moving, right? And look at us today. We're still good to go. We're still happy. We still have, a life. Look at the kids today. That's a comparison. Yep. Now I know guys who grew up with me as well, and they stopped doing what they were doing. I say movement is medicine. If you can move, you don't need medicine. You don't need to take pills because why? You're moving freely. You're moving in all the aspects of daily living, right? You're sitting, you're standing. You can do that. People don't sit and stand anymore because they're only sitting. They're braced. They're in front of the computer. The posture has changed. Here, look at the kids today. Look at their posture, and people who are working, office workers. I'm not saying that you don't have to work. Of course, you have to work, but you can get up and you can get off that seat and you can sit and stand 10 times in an hour, and you look good for it too. Yep.
Right.
You can stay, lean on your table, hit a couple of push-ups. You're still going to look good for it. People in the office are going to be like, wow, I can do that too. I need to do that too. Why not? And kick your legs out and up, out and about. It's movement. How many of us, we sit in the office, we call the calf the second heart. You pump your calves up, right? Just pump your calves up and see what's going to happen. There's a blood that flows all the way through, right to the tip of your head. People don't do that because they're not aware of it. They don't do it. So that's why I say movement is medicine. Yep. And movement is life. If you move, you have life. If you're sitting, it's a dead life. It's a dead person. It's nothing. You're just sitting there. If you have to watch TV, you're just sitting there. Remember what's happening. Yeah, just sitting there. You're watching something. Okay, that's a form of entertainment, which is good. We all need that. But don't be sitting there for as long as possible, right? So what I do is I incorporate all the stuff, which is ADLs, right? Activities for daily living. Sitting, standing, pushing, pulling, climbing, rotating, locomotion. So I add all these 7 principles, which are functional in nature, and you have them in the gyms too. But you need to know where to take them to do it, right? For me, I believe outside is the playground, right? I love training
Nice.
outside. I love doing stuff outside because you're in the open, you got air, you got natural stuff coming in, and you can do things that you probably don't do in a gym. Most gyms are equipped nowadays. Yes, they're equipped with a functional training area and they have, whatever you want to call it, cardio area and then a strength training area. It's all great. But doing something in the outdoors is very different from training indoors. It's two different things. Like I said, where we grew up from, and from the time we grew up from, we understand that, and we embrace that, and we appreciate that. Folks who didn't do it, they don't appreciate it because they don't understand it, they don't get it. So as parents, when we tell our kids or anything, and they say, "Oh, that was your time," maybe I'm like, "Yeah, but that can still be your time now.
Yeah.
It can still be." You take kids, you go out, they come back more pumped up, man, rather than sitting in the house and whatever, watching TV or doing something in the house or whatever it is. I just think that tech is good, but you shouldn't use tech so much that it's going to start disrupting your pathways. Okay, we have certain pathways and we're meant to use it. If we don't use it, we're going to lose it. So we
That's
need to
true.
make sure that, yeah, man, that's what we do. So even though I have an online training workout that we do it on Zoom, and I have athletes who train with me, and on the same handle, senior citizens. They age from 16 to 69, and
Wow.
they're all training on that same in that same frame, and you got to see what the way they move. It's amazing. It's just simply amazing the way they move.
Two, 3 points really struck out, right? Like stuck out for me. I mean, one is if you realize most people focus way too much on diet. When I say, I mean, not in a bad way. I don't mean in a bad way at all,
Yeah.
but weight ghatana hai, diet karte hain, right? Then they start changing their diet. But what they don't realize is they're just sort of reducing, they're already moving less. So the BMR, their metabolism is low. They're
Yep.
just saying, and that they just start cutting out the processed foods and they cut out the extra calories, which is a great thing, by the way, no doubt. And that's a great way to
Yep.
lose weight eventually. But most people just suffer from a lack of exercise and
Yep.
movement completely. And eventually I've realized one thing, and this is where we spoke about the kids thing. Now I have a 16-year-old who was recently taken up to the gym, and I notice his mood post the gym or post when he goes out for football with his friends at the turf versus him having spent 2 hours playing some video games, right? Whether it's
Right.
something online, even with its friends, like maybe Fortnite with friends or Call of Duty or anything, or even
Yeah.
FIFA.
Yeah.
The amount of maybe the endorphins that he has after a physical activity, whether
Yep.
it's just with any sport, but even if we go and play table tennis down, right, or even a quick swim, his mood, the kind of conversations, the wanting to come and share his experience with us
Yep.
as parents is so much more versus him having finished an activity on his video game with his PS, with his PlayStation, and then having to retreat back into his phone and Instagram and chatting with his friends versus the other one where he's physically invigorated and having
Right.
to do that, and that works so much even with adults, right?
Yep.
The amount of
Absolutely.
just the high of having just trained is just so good. And there's one statement, and this might work well hopefully for your clients, and something that really hit me hard is that when you're doing something that is good for you or any activity, you always feel a little diffident beforehand, or rather not wanting to before, but the minute you've done it, you feel great,
Absolutely.
right? On the other hand, if you're doing something that you know is not great, maybe binging on an ice cream or binge watching a TV show when you should be studying or working, right?
Yeah.
Before you feel amazing and you feel like that temptation is riding high back in that, that
Yeah.
evil guy in the mind that got of talking to you.
Yeah.
The minute you finish it, you start feeling bad again.
Yeah, it is. That's very true when you say that actually, and it happens to all of us, right? It's not just
Everybody. I think it's universal.
everybody. They go through that slump, but that again, that's like a behavioral change that we need to kind of set up. We do it with our clients. I do it with my clients, and I fall into that trap a lot of the time as well. But I mean, it's normal, it's
I think it's
natural. Yeah,
human. I think it's human
yeah,
to
it
sort
is.
of
Yeah,
choose, right? Comfort is
yeah,
easy to stick into, and
correct.
getting out of it, getting yourself out there is tougher.
That's right.
So Coach, we just for quick clarity, right? So you have two sets of businesses. One is you have your own clients whom you coach,
Yes.
and I'd love to understand what are the formats in which you coach them. Do you do personal training? Do you teach them online? In online, do you teach them, in a group class? I think you mentioned something like that. Or do you
Yes.
also give out coaching plans that people can actually go out and take?
Yeah. So I do a bit of most of the things that you just asked me, Ketan. I do an online class. There's a group of them, but I also do personalized training. Do I train a lot of the athletes? Some of them online, one-on-one as well. But whenever I'm traveling, so if I'm traveling to India, I still get a chance to see some of these athletes, and I can train with them. Over here in the Middle East, in Dubai, I do one-on-ones with like basketball athletes, soccer athletes, MMA athletes, and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I won't see them 3 or 4 times a week, but I'll probably see them like once a week because of travel schedule and everything else. So I kind of meet
Right.
them online most times. Whenever I'm in town, that's the time I'll see them, work with them, set them up on a program, have them monitored. Absolutely. And speaking about all that, I also started a new group class in the place that I live in the community, and it's amazing. Just because that's it, man. You have to build community. Build the community, get them to start coming out training. We have a gym as well in the community, right?
Okay.
And then you have people who come to the gym, just want to lift a lot of weight and everything else, and then and they'll come up with their trainer sometimes, and then they start watching. They'll be like, "What is this guy doing? Like, why is he doing this stuff? Why is he doing stuff differently?" So when time and again you have a conversation with them, with some of them, because if the gym is empty, they'll kind of come down to you and they'll ask you, "What is this? Why are you doing this stuff?" And you get a chance to actually educate them and tell them what they should be doing, rather than just lifting a weight from point A to point B and they're using so much weight. And I ask them, "What is the reason that you are doing this for? What's the reason? You want to get fit? You want to look good? You want those arms to get bigger? What is it?" And they give you, of course, just a natural response. And I'm thinking, okay, if you're training your arm or your bicep, how big is that compared to the rest of your body? Just for the sake of argument. And I say, why do you do like more than like I've seen you training your arms for like 20 sets. Does it require 20 sets, bro? And that's like he goes, no, but I see it on YouTube or on the magazines. I'm like, yeah, that's why you need a professional trainer. You need somebody who's going to help you to achieve your goals without you overtraining. If you're training you don't need to do that much of work, man. You're training hard. Think about what I'm saying. You're training hard with high intensity.
Right.
How is your body going to manage that? Now, when are you going to recover? Unless you're juicing or you're taking something, you're not going to recover. You're not going to be able to train every day like that. It's simple fact. But people don't get that. They think, oh, I've just got to go into the weight room, push the weights, and I'm going to get bigger and stronger and whatever. It doesn't work like that. If
If
your
only
body is
it
weak
did.
enough.
If
Yeah,
only it did.
exactly.
Everybody would be jacked and ripped, right? And
Exactly. That's
everybody
right.
would be in the pink of the health. I mean, this
Yes.
is the classic. What you just mentioned is such a classic thing now, and this is where fitness coaching is so important because clients are just swayed with the latest fad, the latest hack, but
Yeah.
but the reason why therefore fitness coaches are so important is in my mind three big things. And to add to these, if you think there's something missing, the first is I think most people just don't know how everything fits in together. They know all the
Yeah.
individual parts. There's no rocket science to it, right? Everybody
Right.
knows you need to eat clean, that you need to be in a deficit, you need to
Yeah.
train, you need to do steps, you need to sleep well, you need to, they will even know stuff like progressive overload and stuff like that
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah,
Everybody knows
yeah,
the terms. They just
yeah,
don't know how it all fits. Like the guy in
right.
the gym who's doing 20 sets of arms and
Yeah,
ignoring the bigger,
yep,
back and chest and quad muscles and whatnot, right? And also doing too much of your anterior chain versus very little on your posterior. So, just like like a hunched back, this thing. That's the first structure. The second is, what do you do week after week, month after month, right? Like, how do you progress? What is the actual progression? And therefore, a coach who's actually been down the road, walked the path, perhaps can say, you know what, and coaches in my mind are cheat codes. The second is, how do you progress week after week, month after month? Because they've achieved one thing. Oh, they've lost 2 kgs. Okay, and
yep,
that was by cutting out food, going hard in the gym. And now they're like, oh, I'm already burnt out. How do I now progress? What do I do? And coaches have like cheat codes, as I mentioned, right? They're like, they know door number one. Okay, now it's not door number two, but probably for you, it's door number three. And it's literally being able to guide them along their curated journey, and making sure that they're seeing progress, because everybody's journey, as you believe also, is absolutely different. They've got everything different. And the final and most important thing and is what is called accountability, right?
yeah.
Or in Indian terms, I say danda. Danda maro to sab kaam ho jata hai.
So absolutely, really, what you said was was very true. And yes, all the steps are important. They know in today's day and world, yes, they know what is, what should they do, work in deficit or eat in surplus, and all that stuff is great. But why do they need a coach? Really, a good coach, a good, like I say, when people say, what do you do? And I tell them, I said, I am a lifestyle transformation coach. I'm going to change your lifestyle and I'm going to transform it completely, transform the way you move and everything else. So if they have somebody like that, right? So this is somebody who's going to take the full spectrum and kind of start breaking it down for this person. Yes, you're right with the cheat code, but actually make them go through the whole process. Now there's a process to it. Everybody thinks that it's, oh, somebody really looks cool, they look jacked up, guy might be a good coach. That couldn't be further from the truth. So a good coach will take you to the right process, will teach you the right stuff, and will make you go through all the phases. So you basically know this. There's something that's called periodization, right?
Right.
Now, depending on where your journey is, after the coach has actually met you, spoken to you, found out what you need to do, what are your goals, then he's going to start applying everything. He's going to take in a lot of detail, a lot of data is going to be gathered, where he's going to find out if you have a health history, if you have any injuries. He's going to take all these things into account. What is your lifestyle like? Get you to then, of course, get you to kind of be accountable, like you said, to whatever the process is going to be. Like the danda and the hand comes out. That's right. And then he's gonna start putting up. He's gonna start doing some sort of assessments with you to see where you are. So most people, like I said, they walk into the gym and the coach has absolutely not done anything. Okay, we're gonna start with this. We're gonna do leg work. We're gonna do arm work. We're gonna do. Hold on a second, bro. Where have you done anything? How do you know where do they start? They may look good, or they may look slim, or they may look whatever overweight. You cannot judge them by that because every individual is different. So you need to kind of tailor make something for them, for that individual person. And that's when you start doing their test, start doing an assessment. I don't like to want to use the word test, but an assessment of where they are, because that's a starting point, right? And now you're going to tell him and show him that journey where he's going to be or what he wants to be, right? Now that's the process. So that's when you start doing this thing that's called periodization. So whether the journey is for a year, whether the journey is for 6 months, and you break it down. There are phases, man. They have to work in those phases. If they don't work in those phases, they're going to hit plateaus.
Absolutely.
Before they hit a plateau, switch it again. Yep. And then you got to, that's it, accountability. How many times are they going to come into the gym? When they come into the gym, how much time are they going to spend training and not gaffing and waffing around, stuff like that. I mean, so it's a whole process. Now, if you have a coach who can do that and it can take you from that through that whole process, I think you got number one. For the rest of your life, you know exactly what it is and you will adhere to it, you will stick to it, and you already have that system inbuilt in you. So there's no way that you're going to go off track. You'll always know, hey, I have to start. Okay, I'm going to start easy and then I'm going to start progressing. That's why it's called progressive overload, right?
Right.
You're progressing with it. It's very simple stuff, but you have to work in those phases. So you could be working in a phase where you're training with just 50 to 60% of your heart rate max or your one rep max, right? And then you start progressing. And if you're not lifting weights that are challenging you, then you're wasting your time. right? If you're going to stay maintenance, you're just going to stay maintenance. That's fine. You can do that too. But the idea for you to go back into the gym and to train, like for us, as you grow older, man, you need to start storing muscle mass. You need to start building muscle mass because that in turn is going to help you burn body fat, number one. Secondly, also it's going to keep you active. Muscle is an active tissue.
True.
So it's simple science, it's not really, that rocket science. Like, build muscle, man. That's why you need to lift weights. But in the meantime, do not lose the connectivity that you have to the flow to do stuff that's activities for daily living. So like, yeah, retreating back to that, definitely. If they have a good coach and they have a coach who can really transform their minds and their bodies at the same time, then you're on a 100% winner. There are really good coaches who really not really big, jacked, but the kind of information that they bring out and the kind of training that they give their clients is absolutely phenomenal. And we miss out on people like that because they just get overlooked. But getting certified, getting educated, that is part of the process. And if you learn that properly, you will always be doing humanity a service. That's what I say. You're gonna help people change their lives. There's nothing better than that, man.
This
It's you know
is,
that.
I think you have said something that I tell a lot of people again. I think that's why this conversation is so effortless because there's so many things that resonate. Most coaches, now, and I love the rant about coaches not just being jacked and assuming that they're good because most coaches have the hero syndrome.
Right.
They are
Yeah.
the hero in this entire relationship
Yes.
while they are actually the master Shifu to the Kung Fu Panda, right? They are supposed to be the guide. They're not the hero. They're the person who leads that
Correct.
hero to his journey. That's the
Correct.
difference in mindset. And the other part is that, I mean, and now it's changed. Like, really, so many good academies that's come up. Obviously, the pioneers, the really good ones, being K11. We have Exercise Science Academy. There's yours. There is Vinny Fitness Lab. There's so many of these that are actually starting to do such a good job with actually training people to certify them, educate them on how to not just the technical education, but also how to be a good coach and guide in the personal journey. But still, it remains. I mean, because there are so many lakhs of coaches who are still uncertified or have never actually had the opportunity to get certified. Maybe they became coaches 20, 30 years back, and such institutes were not around at that point of time
Right.
that this became more of a residual career opportunity, right? So if और कुछ नहीं हुआ, अच्छा you not really great at science, not really great at commerce, body अपनी बना ली, and then they sort of said, okay, I think I'm become a fitness coach, worked in a gym a few years, and realized, oh, this is not bad, so it pays the bills, and cut there.
Yeah.
But what they, if more people become certified, more people actually start thinking of their clients as the hero. And then if you play that part in their journey and that's what gets them to excel, suddenly it changes everything for the coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
Suddenly there are so many more people who want that same hero journey
Correct. That's right.
versus right them wanting to be the hero and then the coach and then the clients never really achieving their goals and them
Correct.
remaining struggling to get clients themselves, right? How have you played your journey out with your clients? Like, how did you excel? Now obviously yours has been a long illustrious career already. How did you grow through your early years? How did you market yourself so other coaches can understand how they can also really get big, grow, get clients, go international? Would love to hear your thoughts.
So, Ketan, for me, initially, when I finished my education, as in after I moved back from the US, I moved back into Abu Dhabi, and I had the privilege of working out with a place called the Club. It's called the British Club actually, but they called it the Club. A phenomenal place, expats, basically for expats, and so a lot of the community was Europeans, Americans, Australians, all of that. And a lot of the time, also, I would get to train with guys from the special forces. So that kind of played a very big role because there was a program that I would teach back then called the Ultimate Pump. It's one of the programs that we still teach. But if you're in the armed forces, there's a certain mindset that you do not want to give up. No matter what it is, you never take. There's no defeat. They come with a very different mindset. And I had the opportunity to train with these individuals, and it really set something up. So people always wanted to come into that class. That class was humongous. It was big for that time. For those times, you'd have like 50, 60 people in a class, in a group class, and everybody doing the same thing. The same thing. It's just class. It's just carried on. We've got some crazy, good, techno music playing in the background, and it's like a party, literally like a party. I'm talking about knees, which was like unheard of in that time. So for me, there was my marketing. People just wanted to be in that class. People
Wow.
from all over Abu Dhabi wanted to be in that class. And then I started getting a lot of our own community kind of coming in, and they were like, what? This is ridiculous. How can you do something that's so hard? I'm like, no, it's not hard. You don't have to do it like that. You have to start right where you start. But they just wanted to jump right in. It doesn't work like that. It's there's a process that you're going with. So, and if you stick to the process, you will see the greatness that comes out of it. There was an athlete that I would train. He was a badminton player, and he absolutely loved it. And he came from a good level of fitness. But I said, hey, man, you know what? You need to underestimate yourself because this program is very different. And like I'm saying, that was my marketing. That was for me, that was the marketing. He got 20, 30 other guys, other people, family. So it just went on. It just grew. It grew. It grew. And initially, when we had when we had a company with some of my friends, five of us who actually did this program back in the day, everyone else had a class that was they were kind of okay. One of the main guys, his class was like practically empty, but they wonder why is this guy's workout? Why is this class thriving so much? Why? Why? Because I gave everybody a chance to get used to what was happening. I didn't bring them and just throw them in the deep end. So there was a process. But this is also the crux of my training. People who come train with me, man, I take them through those pathways again. I'm like, go sit down. I'm like, but I find it difficult. I know you will, but you'll get used to it. No, my knees. I'm like, no, no, no. I said, you're talking about knees. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with my knees. And then you're going to start thinking about it. And they're like, what? I said, yeah, I don't have cartilage in my knees, but I sit down all the way down. How about
Wow.
that? So stop making an excuse. Go sit down. Like they're like, oh, okay. And in a month they're okay, and they're like, wow. And then they go and start showing off. Like they're the heroes, right? Like you said. So they start showing off to everybody else, even to their kids. So that's what I said. That's a transformation. If you can transform people's minds and their bodies, their minds first, bodies will follow for sure. Because it's what the heart, where's your heart going with it? What do you want to do with it? So yeah, for me, that was all initially, that was all my kind of marketing that was happening. And to be very honest with you, Ketan, I'm not really been that good with marketing. I don't talk enough about what I do. People keep saying, man, you need to tell people. Oh, you need to talk to people. You need to tell people. I'm like, no, my work should talk should. And over the years, I've trained many, many, many people of influence, many people of in the sporting field, whatever, into Bollywood, and they've all seen the changes. They've all seen the differences. Some of the athletes can't talk about it because they are playing for the nation, and
Right.
of course, you know how it is, right? They cannot say and take names of people who they're training with. And yeah, I mean, there's evidence. There's because I document stuff, man. There has to be evidence to what you're doing. There has to
Right.
be an evidence to what that person is doing because you want to show them what they were doing, where they are at, and where they are going. So this is called that's the evidence that I work with all the time, and it has to be fact that it works. So yeah, I mean, and I do it myself. So this is something that I believe in. If you can't do it yourself, don't give it to somebody else. Don't talk, man. Walk the walk. Go do it, and then make them do it because then they appreciate it. They go like, okay, if this dude can do it, so can I. You lead by example.
So you obviously you weren't actively marketing yourself, but your work just kept
Yeah.
growing. The word of mouth kept growing.
Yes.
Athletes referred more athletes, and
Yep.
and therefore now you're training multiple kinds of, I mean, athletes from multiple sports, right?
Yep.
And all of that is in Dubai, or all that's also in the US and India and other places,
It's kind of global. So yeah, I have clients in India, athletes in India. Cricket is very big in India. Yeah.
right?
Train some of the uh, people who are playing in the team. Soccer players, badminton players, tennis here as well, basketball, soccer, rugby, MMA, and then we have the older clients. So I also work with a clinic back in India called Sports Doc. They're based in Bandra. A very, very great, superb orthopedician by the name of Dr. Deepak Bhatia. He deals a lot with athletes as well,
Okay.
wrestlers, weightlifters, boxers, all these kind of people. So yeah, I do the rehab work with them. But once they've gone through the surgery and then they see the physio, post that, I see them and I get them back into their playing fields, whatever they're doing. So it's kind of a clinic that this doctor operates out of, and he's one of the best in our country, man. He's a shoulder, elbow, wrist specialist, and an amazing guy. So yeah, so this kind of takes time, of course, and so all my marketing, like I said, comes from word of mouth. Even when we had the studios in the clubs back in India, it was all word of mouth. People knew who we were, what we were doing. A lot of them did not like us because they thought we were a little bit uh, over the top, but we were not over the top, man. This is what we were. This is like what I'm telling you. We spoke the truth, always the truth. Never give people the rubbish and the BS. We told them what it was, like it was. You like it, you come work out with us. You don't like it, find yourself another gym. We don't take this no nonsense gym. It's hardcore, pedal to the metal, and we enjoy it. And people who train with us, they can speak volumes. They can always speak volumes. I have members even till date. Hey man, why don't you please open up the club again? I'm like, yeah, that has been in the past. I said, we just enjoy the memories now.
Right.
We've kind of moved, but they're like, no, no, you should open up, because we shut down during lockdown and then we never opened up again. Then I moved back to Dubai and we opened up the company over here.
Right.
I work with a couple of other companies like Core Health and Fitness. So I educate for them, and with Nautilus and with Stairmaster Hit and with Schwinn, Star Trek, and Throwdown as well. And also I do some work with Precor, but I work independently with them. Yep. So I'm not payrolled or anything, and there's no exclusivity. So I work independently. If they want me to go educate, go down and do it, teach them all the different types of trainings. But and I meet people before I can take them on. I always meet them. I find out what is their need, why are they doing it, and if it kind of matches, of course, I'll say, okay, let's do this. But you got to do what I'm going to tell you to do. So in a good way, I'm not saying that I'm going to, because I said, sometimes type of training is a little bit orthodox compared to what the other guys are doing or the other people are doing. And yeah, I will motivate you, educate you, make you grow, and transform you completely, transform your life. That's it.
Fantastic. So I think what you really said is that obviously you didn't market yourself, but the style of your even accepting a client is to figure out what the client really needs,
Yeah.
whether you're a good fit for them or they're a good
Yeah.
fit for your kind of coaching, because you have
Correct.
a certain methodology, and not everybody wants the same thing in any case. And then you assess exactly what they need. You obviously will sell them what they want. You know what I mean? Because everybody's like, oh, I just want to get leaner. But what they
Yeah.
probably need to get is to get stronger, or
Correct.
they just need to eat better, and they
Yes.
just don't need to lose weight, but they need to, overall change the lifestyle, which eventually will help them lose weight, will let them look good, will get them
Correct.
that six pack. But what the problem that I see with most coaches, and we actually have a program that helps coaches market themselves better, because what they know is only 12.5% of the skill sets they need to run a business. What I mean is that, most coaches, when they do a fitness program, right, where they learn, whether it's a personal training diploma, whether they learn nutrition, sport, whatever, they may have 20 certifications, and many people have that. They're amazingly job ready, right? But when it comes to running a business, they need to figure out, okay, what's my product? Like, who am I as a coach? Right? What do I price myself? How do I position myself in the market? How do I actually do the marketing for that? How do I finally sell and convert them into a client? So the first four stages they've never learned. Then they know the
Yep.
coaching. That's why I say they're superbly job ready. And if somebody were to give them clients, I'm assuming they'd be amazing coaches. But
Yeah.
then, oh, how do I engage the client? How do I make sure that he's like you said, and engagement need not be keeping them happy. It means that they're progressing in a certain direction that they wanted to progress in the first place. So whether it's
Right.
periodization, whether it's making sure that the client's actually seeing progress in a weight loss or their strength, or just fitting into older clothes, whatever that their initial journey was, that the relationship with the client is actually a good, the one that, where they're a guide and not the hero kind of thing.
Correct.
Eventually getting the client to renew, so that's client retention, and also then going and shouting from the rooftops and becoming a megaphone for them, which clearly you've cracked, is
Yeah.
client referrals, right? So
Yes.
now these are eight particular skills which are needed to run a business, but they're only currently, they don't want a particular skill. So the main thing that most people do is they don't know any of these things.
Yeah.
And what they do is they think, oh, marketing, let me post an Instagram post,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
marketing, the end of everything. Oh, sales. Oh, yeah. So I have multiple packages, and whether you're a person who is a lady who is requires say postnatal weight loss, or a person who's 65 who maybe with some knee pain or sciatica, or a person with some lifestyle disorder, or a guy who wants to go stage prep, or a 17-year-old child boy who wants to just start in the gym, or a 45-year-old woman who just wants to lose weight, maybe has some small, maybe PCOS, right? I don't know. And all of these clients become the clients, or become the clients, and they have no, I would say, specialization. They have
Correct.
no niche. They don't know what their methodology is. They just say, okay, we do weight loss, we do muscle gain, we do general fitness,
Yeah.
and then the price is the same for all, and their method of selling is the same for all, which is, oh, 12 sessions, I'll charge you 12,000, 15,000, 8,000, whatever it is. And I just find it like selling, just a commodity,
Yeah.
wherein people are just devaluing themselves in such a bad manner that they're just not being able to come out of that glass ceiling, because they're wondering, why doesn't anybody want fitness? Why? I'm such a good coach. I've got 5 certifications from
Yeah.
from the best academies, but I'm not
Yeah.
able to do this. And that's where we tell them that, you know what, you have great skills as a coach, but you do not have any other skills. And that's where we want to teach you how to actually create yourself into something that's worth training for, or training with, or somebody who's a coach that I want to train with. But so, what are your thoughts on this entire thing that I sort of described, which is a pet peeve of mine, to be very honest, because our coaches need this.
Yeah.
They're struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Forget being super successful. They're struggling to make ends meet because they just don't have the basic skills and are not there yet.
Yeah. So whatever you said, man, everything was very, very legit, full on legit. So yeah, they have all these information, and they've done all the certifications and everything else, but they they still are left on the floor. Number one, maybe they're not experienced enough. Okay, I'm just saying that for the sake of argument. They're not experienced enough. Even the ones who are experienced, they don't know how to kind of sell themselves or market themselves in terms of is that they're just stuck. They don't know, like, and just like you said, they don't like people. Then there are in today's day, you have gyms, and you'll have a fancy gym. And I'm just saying from something that I saw just a couple of days ago. All these trainers, there are like maybe 20 trainers in the gym, right? And all jacked, all looking cool and everything else. None of them certified, number one. And then but they're on the floor, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're pestering people. But on the other hand, and you've got on the other hand, there were a few kids. There were a few kids, like, because now it's Ramadan over here. Schools are closing early and things that there were, maybe the kids were probably about in their teens, maybe 14 to 17-year-olds, and they're training in the gym, and they're doing everything that they should not be doing. But
Right,
nobody, that's your client, man. That's like five of them. They're ready clients waiting for you, and you're not even paying attention to them. But you're going and pestering some chick or some uncle over there. Oh, idle talk. Look at that. That's a business waiting for you to happen, and you just let it go.
right,
And like these kids, yeah. And then I eventually went to one of the guys and I said, hey, man, there's potential for you. Just go down there and talk to those kids. You have five of them. You can do a group class, group personal training with them from tomorrow itself. And he just looked at me and was like, what are you talking about? And I said, okay, watch this. I walked up to them and I said, hey, guys. I said, what's going on, man? I said, you guys training? What are you training for? Ah, nothing. It's okay. It's cool, kids. I said, I'm going to show you something, and do that and let me know how you feel. Just took them through, like, they were using the tricep push down machine, but they were using it really badly. And I said, stay here, do this, keep your arms here. And I said, I want you to watch one another. Yeah. So I'm going to finish my workout. Come talk to me in a little while. And now I'm going to catch up with you guys. They didn't even wait. They finished the workout. They came back to me. We want to do some bicep work. What should we do? I'm like, there you go. And I said, how about you guys wanting to train together as a group? Would you guys like it? They said, yeah, just tell us where to sign up. Simple. And I'm like, and I called that guy. I said, come here. I said, they want to do personal training. And then they're like, no, no, we want to train with you, not with them. I'm like, guys, listen. So I said, this, and I can't because I live in a different part of town altogether, and I would not go there that far. I went there because there was some work and I had to meet one of the owners in the club. But this is the feedback I'm also giving the owners. I'm saying, hey guys, they should be walking the floor, assisting people. Literally, that's what they're there for. And they're not doing it. And how are they going to get clients?
This
You
is
talk to
this.
somebody. Yeah, it's just simple stuff, man. I mean, and they're there. You're just trying to help somebody, right? What are you doing? You're trying to help somebody change the way they look, they feel, transform their lives. That's part of your job. Just go do what you're supposed to do. But you think that because I look good, they need to come to me. It's not gonna happen. Yep. But you walk the floor. If you walk the floor, you're gonna pick up clients. Easy.
And I think
Yep.
more than anything, it's all about giving first
Yep.
rather than taking first, right? And
Absolutely.
if you
Absolutely.
give, at some point, the tide's going to turn and you're going to start getting so much that I think
Absolutely.
it's super. I think this is a great point you made. I think coaches, I mean, if you're listening, you should really you should really coach me and do what he says. I mean, honestly, just walk the floor, help
Yep.
people selflessly.
Yep.
And you never know
Absolutely.
who's the next big client for you, right? I mean,
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. I stick by that 100%. You don't have to linger around. You don't have to bother people in the gym. You just walk by, greet them. Everybody's coming there for a reason, man. They're there for a reason, right? Some might come in for just be stressed out from work and they might just be there and, just not knowing what to do, just banging on the weights. And you just pass by and, quick hello to him and just say, hey, let me just show you how to do this properly and walk by, leave and go. The next time you walk by, he's going to come back to you. I'm telling you, 99% online, he's going to come back to you and say, hey, are you a personal trainer? Can I do some training with you? Simple. Like just like you said, right? Give. The more you give, the more you're going to get back. And the tide's going to turn. You give, 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 and the tide will turn because they see the intention and they see what is your purpose over there. And to me, I always
right.
say that to my clients, if you're working out, there should be a purpose. What is your intention? Why are you here? Once you find that out, you will achieve your goal, no problem. Because then now I know you're focused and you're gonna crack it.
I think
And
most
yeah, yeah.
I
Sorry,
think no,
Ketan.
I was saying most people. This is great. I mean, this is life advice. I mean, most people do things. I would say just on autopilot these days, right? You just go gym, jana hai,
Yes,
so we go to the gym. You eat
correct,
food, so you order something and eat food. And if you were to just put a half a second thought as to why am I doing the next rep? Why am I eating this particular food? Why am I doing something I'm saying not supposed to do? Or even if I'm supposed to do, how can I just do it better? Like your diet can start with your next bite, and your
correct.
workout can start
Wow. Yep.
literally in your next rep, a progressive
Yeah.
workout, right? I mean, it's just so powerful. If you just think about that, if you take half
Yep.
a second of thought, that if you just simply mindful about what
Yes.
you do in life,
Yes.
everything can get better. This is what I call as
Yep.
progressive overload in life.
Yeah.
You
That's right.
have 30, 40,
That's right,
50
brother.
years
That's
ahead
right.
of you to
Yep.
progressively become better at
Yes.
everything. Your next handshake can be better. Your
Yep.
next smile can be brighter. Your next
Absolutely.
compliment can be more meaningful. Your next conversation with a colleague can be not just dreary, but a nice, enriching,
Exactly.
and
Yes.
energizing conversation, right?
You need to care about people because they're placing their lives in your hands. They're placing their bodies to be changed, to be transformed. But if you can educate them at the same time and motivate them and tell them what they should be doing, and if they keep the experience, like you said, if it's a mindful and a willful experience, man, the joy that they leave with is unbelievable because they want to come back the next day. They're like, hey, what are we doing tomorrow? I'm like, go and rest. You're resting tomorrow. Like, no, 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 we can train. I'm like, no, 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 go rest. You cannot train them so hard and then train them again the next day. It just doesn't make any sense. Everything
Right.
has to, like I said, there has to be a purpose and the intent. Yep. If you know what is that, you're sorted because then you're focused on your goal. Easier to get there. The path might not always be, a bed of roses. Of course, there are hiccups. You might fall sick. You might have a fall. You might travel, whatever, but you will not lose focus because that focus is there because you know what is your intention. My intention is to get there and to be like that. This is my purpose. This is what I want to do. And you'll see it.
Fantastic.
You'll see it through. And like I said, even you said, we're the guide over there. We just keeping them on that path. And then once they reach that
100%.
goal, yeah, everything changes. Once they reach that goal, they're like, yep, then that's it. They're the hero, man. In this whole thing, they're the hero. And
This
we're
is
just there to cope and to make sure that they get there, to make sure they cope.
I think the biggest mic drop moment is this whole thing about being genuine. I think most people, at least now, what this is the sad part, because most people and most coaches who are struggling to make money take on every conceivable potential client that they can take on, regardless of whether they can help them or not.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Because and that also stems from the fact that they do a very shallow inquiry as to what the person's goals are, right? So what we actually
right.
get people to ask is something called the 5 why technique, which is a documented technique. Actually, literally say, okay, what do you want to do? What's your goal? So I want to lose weight. Okay, why do you want to lose weight? Because I can't fit into my clothes. Oh, why do you? Okay, what? How does that make you feel? Why is it so important for you to fit into your clothes? And you keep asking questions till the point that you realize that's the deeper need that they have. And maybe there's a
Yep,
lifestyle thing, there's an insecurity, there's some confidence issue that's gone on, whatever it is that probably got them to want to lose weight, which is seems like the shallow goal at this point, because nobody loses weight to lose weight. Nobody wants to make money, though they have certain desires, right? You may be
yep,
underconfident to approach a girl. You may maybe a guy who's overweight who cannot take his t-shirt out of the pool. You want to feel more confident in a boardroom, whatever it is. You sports because you were never picked on teams. Me, as a child. So the most coaches therefore end up taking everybody without being genuinely able to help
yeah,
them. Would a doctor who is, say, a heart specialist entertain a consultation with a guy who has a lung problem or a stomach problem
yep,
or an eyesight problem? No, I mean, it would be
yep.
considered malpractice, right?
That's right.
So if you're not something, or I mean, you can be a general physician who looks at all things, and
Right.
then you could look at surface level problems, no problem, right? Like you go to a
Yeah,
doctor and you see him for maybe some sore eyes, or you've got a cold, cough,
yeah,
fever, whatever, right? That's fine.
yeah.
And then you can look at 200 different kinds of small issues and then refer people to specialists, or you can become really good at one thing, right? Or one kind of training. Like I think yours is
Yeah,
like one methodology that works for multiple kinds of people.
yes,
It's not just a gender kind of thing, but
yeah,
you become so good at one thing that people identify you with that. But if you're not able to genuinely help that person, then you should say, you know what, actually develop a network that says, you know what, actually that coach is actually better for them, and go
correct,
there. And then eventually you'll start seeing this whole community of 8, 10 coaches that you work
correct.
with who
Yes,
will support each other, because
yep,
eventually everybody gets great results because they go to the guy who knows best for their particular journey,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Yep. That's and I we do that. I do that. Yep. I have a network of people that I work with. When I say that I work with, they are some of them are my students, some of them are my friends. I ran a club that was called a cross training studio, right?
Right.
And like I said, I dealt with everything. Not CrossFit, but cross training. It's kind of more, let me say, I'll put it this way. It's a safer approach to doing things. Yep, because it's movement. And then I have a friend and a very close friend who ran a Pilates studio. And when somebody said to me, I want to do Pilates, or I think I should do Pilates, or if I found out that this kind of system, this kind of training is not meant for you,
Right.
I would say, why don't you go look up this guy? Tell him that I've sent you, and he will completely look after you. And it really works. I mean, it works because number one, okay, I not only just because he's my friend, because I know he can do and he can take care of this person and he can really help this person, with postural stuff and things like that. I don't have that time to kind of sit with you and do this stuff. But if you go down to this place, they will look after you and go and do it. And same with him. Like I have physios, I have doctors who I work with, uh, and it's genuinely like, and I tell them even if I have some sort of misunderstanding, not a misunderstanding, if I don't agree with some of the stuff that the doctor's doing or saying, I will tell them. I'm like, boss,
Right.
listen, man, you've done the cut and paste and everything inside, and that's cool, but I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it a step further because I'm not challenging you and I'm not challenging the science, but I'm just saying that as humans, sometimes you're meant to move. That's the only thing you need to do. Just move. If you stay put, there is a certain resting period, yes, but beyond that resting period, people start getting lazy, and you guys are putting them and making them lazy because then you're making them dependent on you. They shouldn't be dependent on you. They shouldn't be dependent on me. They should be independent because that's the way they should be moving. Yep, it's movement because we are meant to move, man.
Right.
Yeah, because I personally, I had a personal experience. I had a motorcycle accident and I was kind of paralyzed. Got into a bad accident.
Okay.
My surgery took like 7 hours, and the doctor said it'll take you 2 years, 2 years to come back to normalcy. And I thought, I don't want to live this a life like this. Yep. So I started doing stuff by myself because now, you know what? I know people know what they can and they cannot do, right? But I started from base level. Like I was not even allowed to hold a plastic empty bottle, right? That's how severe it was. He said you have to rest. I still had the clubs were going, and 1 month after after the surgery, I had another fall from like a flight of stairs, and then I again crushed two ribs, cracked my palm, the side of the palm, and it was again back to basics. So the doctor said, listen, man, if you don't stay put, that's it. You're done. We'll keep you confined. I was like, okay. So I kind of chilled out, but then I started working by myself, doing stuff slowly, gradually. And he told me, to shut me up, he said, unless you can do 20 full pull-ups, you cannot do anything. That's it. You're stuck.
Yes.
So now that has sat in my brain, right? I started working towards it. In 3 months, I gave him a video, a live, like a documented video of what I could do, and showed him how important it was to keep movement as part of your life. He freaked out. So he changed his practice completely. This professional, this doctor changed his practice completely. He says, right, number one, he says, he says, I don't know, you're the first patient that I had who's done this, but now I agree to it, and I've changed my practice because of that. I got myself discharged the next day of the surgery. He said, you'll have to stay in the hospital for 3 days, and then you can go to some care next day. And got myself discharged, left. He's like, are you insane? I'm like, no, I can look after myself. Get out, did what I had to do and everything else. And he stayed with me through the whole process. So he knows the process. And in 3 months, I gave him the video of doing 100 pull-ups, 100 dips, 200 burpees, whatever you want to call it, 2,000 skips. And he was just like, he's like, I get it now. I'm like, yeah.
This is
He
like
said, but
that
you're one of a
Rajnikant
kind.
meme which says this is beyond science.
But he says, no, you're unique. I'm like, no, come on, man. I'm human, just like you. He said, no, your mindset is very different. You have a strong mind.
Right,
People don't have that. I'm like, I agree, doc, but that's why you got to work with them.
right,
That's why you
right,
got to
right.
work with them. I said, yeah. So I'm just saying, man, it's just, it's something that like I said, again, it comes down to what are you going to give again? How present are you? If you have a client, you have to be 100% invested in that client. If you're not, please, direct them, refer them to go somewhere else and have another professional look at them so that they can help them. If you cannot help them, just send them somewhere else where they can get help and they can actually see it, the transformations happening rather than us being, like you said, we'll just take everybody and we can't really help them. What's the point?
Right.
What's the point? Is they're just going to shove your name down, and not really even think about you or not recommend or not do anything. No referrals.
Yeah.
So it's a good way. It's a good way to actually, to work with people, and you can build the community, build this whole community.
So
Yep,
perfect, perfect.
absolutely.
I think this has been wonderful chatting with you, Coach V. As a parting note, what's that one advice that you would give to coaches who are, say, just starting out or are newer in the industry? That you would have loved that somebody senior would have given you when you first started out, since you're such a senior coach.
So yeah, I mean, I think personally, number one is that they have to be true to what they're doing, as in take the trade that you're going to be doing and helping people as genuinely as possible. They need to stay focused on what they're doing. Like I said, they need to be 100% invested. So if you're a newbie, take this. I mean, you need to be 100% invested in whatever you're doing, and especially in your clients, because your clients, they come to you because they trust you, because of somebody else has recommended them to you. So you need to be invested in them 100%. Make sure if you're 100% invested in them, you will give them 100% result, right? And be unique. Don't be like everybody else. Don't join the pack, run with the pack. Be unique. What is your uniqueness? Bring that uniqueness out, right? Be unique in what you're doing, and work with your USP. The main thing is that you need to love people. If you love people, you're going
It's
to
the
go out, you're going to
best. I
express
think
that.
that's the
Yeah.
best advice.
Yeah, you're going to be successful. Doesn't matter. If you're not successful, you're doing something wrong, man. Go back to the drawing board.
Right.
Think about it again. And you have people like that. You have people like Ketan over here who can help you. So yeah, use it.
Yeah,
So
I think
that's
love people is the best thing. Like, most people think of clients as, or rather people who walk into the gym as leads,
Yeah.
clients, eventually money. But if you
Yeah.
were to just think of them as humans who have an
Yes.
insecurity, they have a need, they have
Correct.
something that they came into the gym to do, and they came there to improve themselves. And
Yeah.
if you can genuinely be that guide or that force of change in their life,
Yeah.
just imagine the blessings that you get, not just from them,
Absolutely.
from the universe.
Absolutely.
If you can genuinely help them, it is such a powerful thing to do
Yeah.
that you actually preventing problems before they actually come up. And it's
Correct.
just the greatest thing that, you're literally changing. I mean, now this is profound, but changing the world one human at a time. Wow.
Absolutely, brother.
I'm
Absolutely.
going to
Yep.
pat myself on the
Absolutely.
back for that one.
Glad you for it.
Super, sir.
Absolutely.
Super,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate the time that you've given us. Truly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And
Anytime.
can I just ask you, how can people know more about your coaching and also your courses for fitness coaches? What's the best place to reach out?
So yeah, they can reach out to us via Instagram or telephone or email. So me, I do personally, and it's at Fitness with Venancio at on Instagram, and it's Gmail as well, and also LinkedIn. And with the Finished Work Academy, it's the same thing. It's Instagram, LinkedIn, email, and yeah, we're more than happy to help people. That's the joy that I get, helping trainers, like I said, in creating and changing lives one at a time. Like I tell them, if you guys take even 5% of what you guys will learn today over here, you will be better humans, better coaches, better motivators, and everything else will follow you. Yeah. But yeah, Ketan, it was an absolute pleasure, man. Absolute joy to meet up with you. I can't believe it feels like I've already known you for a long time. But yeah, absolutely.
I'll keep in touch. Thank you once again and have a wonderful day, Coach V. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
Bye bye.
Same with you, brother. Same here. Same here. Thank you.